The trouble with the abusers of history, like the current U.S. regime and virtually all prior regimes and their partners in crime, is that it's deliberately disoriented, and it takes a whole lot of effort and time to like retell history on its own course and set the record straight. So you have this current thing where we're talking about the threat that Russia poses, instead of starting where it starts. NATO has gobbled up 15 countries, something like, since 1997, all on the Eastern Front. And I use the term Eastern Front because I'm sure that it has felt like that to successive generations of Russians and former Soviet citizens. The NATO hasn't changed its game or its goals from the very beginning. The crass shorthand for NATO's raison d'etre was keep the Americans in, the Russians out, and the Germans down. It's not a defensive organization by any stretch of the imagination. It's to maintain regional and now, of course, global supremacy, unless Afghanistan has somehow moved to the Atlantic, the North Atlantic at that. But so here it is. This is a constant, relentless march eastward, which oozed into Ukraine with the mostly successful coup of 2014, organized by the Americans and their CIA stooges. Now, the population of Donbass has fought this to a standstill against the regime that overthrew the government of Ukraine in 2014, and there is a line of truce, which is enshrined in international law in the Minsk agreements, except that the other side has zero intention of following the Minsk agreements or recognizing any need for some autonomy in these southern eastern regions which reject the coup and which are asserting their own sovereignty and autonomy, their Russianness, in other words. So on one side you have literal Nazis whose goal is nothing short of wiping Russian people, language, culture from the face of the earth. And on the other side, old ladies stopping tanks with their bodies. That's not an exaggeration. This really happened before the Ukrainian army disintegrated in the face of this kind of resistance. And you have Andrei, the Russian language itself is a threat to world peace, Parubi. They don't mince words. He doesn't mince words. And what's worse, the State Department mouthpieces and their intelligent apparatchiks know this. The only ones who actually believe their cynical narrative, the very ones spinning it do not believe it, by the way, are those who are duped by this unrelenting wave of propaganda. This isn't new either. It's very surprising why so many people who self-identify as liberals or progressives are duped by the same script, which is as old as time. There's a meme. A lot of times I take joy in looking at memes as a kind of a barometer of popular culture. And there's one now that's saying, well, the CIA did bad stuff in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. But, there were no reforms and no one ever got punished or prosecuted for it. So they're not doing anything bad today, and you should shut up, you crazy conspiracy theorist. Right? This is the thing. This is what the U.S. playbook. Why do people think that the Russian case is any different? This is what we do. And you don't have to listen to carnies like me. You can, look up Smedley Butler or William Bloom, Jonathan Whitney. This has gone on since Somoza. What was Somoza? What FDR said, he may be a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch. They, since the Bay of Pigs, my God, every one of these adventures where they kind of hook up with some reprobates, some losers, either restoring monarchy or completely inventing monarchies. The House of Saud, just somebody, some junkyard dog to do their bidding, to act as a proxy, play the victim, and make the U.S. play the good guys by coming in and saving the day by restoring, in this case, Banderites, Nazis, people who are marching in the streets to honor the Galiciana, the Ukrainian SS division. This is not, you can't make this up. It's not a joke about the expunging Russian, the people that are descended from the Ukrainian nationalism of the 30s and 40s. It's a shame that the so-called left in the West is completely paralyzed by the culture wars. And so they can't see this overarching imperial crap that is the same thing. Now, Zelensky is not the rabid dog that he's supposed to be. He's no Somoza. He's not going to do what we say just because. And now they're going to get him for it. You see this appearing now in Foreign Interests and other magazines or whatever. It's like, well, that's the trouble. When you have a comedian as president, he's suspect because he was saying, like, wait a minute, what are you saying? No, they're not going to invade. Leave us alone. Jesus. Because they know that the Russians have the history of the Svashennaya Vana, the sacred war. And now they are presenting a united front with China. A united front to NATO, to the U.S., to the West writ large, which is, we know what you're up to, and we won't let you perpetrate another Libya, another Syria, another Yemen, another Tehran, another Venezuela, Honduras, etc. ad infinitum in Ukraine or Taiwan. Enough is enough. The arrogance of the Langley boys is absolutely shocking. Huge military powers right now, Russia and China, are victims of the Operation Barbarossa and the Century of Humiliation, respectively, are saying flat out, in clear terms, they will fight together against further eastward expansion and military intervention of the West. Now, why won't the West just listen? It's pretty simple. And they will not and cannot submit.